So what are some things that you can do as a very basic to keep in a resistance workout going when you're sailing? Listen up, because that's the topic of today's conversation on the Boat Galley podcast. I'm Nika Waters. You've found the podcast source for answers to your questions about the cruising lifestyle. Today, we're talking about fitness and working out on board. Today's episode of the Boat Galley podcast is sponsored by Infinity, the most trusted name in woven vinyl flooring in the marine industry. Since 2008, Infinity has offered boat owners premier flooring options proven to withstand even the most demanding environments. Each of their products is equipped with UV stable, fade resistance, and antimicrobial technology, giving them both durability and style that can't be matched. Thinking about kicking carpet to the curb? Make the switch to Infinity and see the difference true luxury makes. Visit infinitylwv.com to learn more. Use the coupon code PODCAST for 50% off samples. For those who know me, they also know that I'm a pretty big believer in reminding people who are about to go cruising that this lifestyle, yes, it's healthy in some ways, and there are other ways in which it's not. Keeping in a good resistance workout is key to better fitness, better flexibility, and better enjoyment of this life. So you might as well just grab some weights. Weights? Oh my gosh. But I don't have weights on my boat. How am I supposed to have weights on my boat? I'm worried about them falling over. I'm worried about them rusting. I'm worried about how much space they're going to take up. Don't worry. There are a lot of exercises you can do that don't require weights. And also, there are a couple of tricks that you can use just for things that don't take up a ton of space. And I'm going to go into a couple of them here. My favorite things to use for resistance when I don't have weights with me are resistance bands. There are loop ones that they look almost like, I don't even know how to describe it. They kind of look like you've taken an elastic t-shirt and cut off the arm of it, so it's one continuous loop that's there. There are tubular ones that kind of look like you could make a Hawaiian sling spear fishing tool out of it. And there are flat ones that look like big long ribbons that you tie, but they're made out of elastic. The thing with resistance is you're looking for something for a band like that. You're looking for something stretchy that you can keep stretching, but work against it. If you have a bungee cord, that will definitely do in a pinch. What these can do, what I love about these resistance bands is that they take up very little room, they take up very little weight, and they're really easy to adapt to whatever circumstance you have. If you want to tie something up in the rigging and use that as the place to pull against, you totally can. And if all you're doing is you're standing on the end of it and stretching it tight to give yourself resistance that way, you can do it that way as well. My favorite place to work out on the boat is actually using a yoga mat with me, and I do it on my side deck. I have a pretty small boat. Many people will have a boat that's larger than mine, but I like the yoga mat for two reasons. One is that it helps me define my space for my workout, but it also helps the grip on my feet. Yes, I tend to go barefoot on our deck, and we have a lot of really good nonstick. We have good nonstick on the deck, but I like the grip that I get with a yoga mat. Some things that you need to think about when you are doing a workout of any sort, but particularly when we're talking about a workout that's using some kind of equipment, is the first thing that you should do is to always check your equipment. If you're using a resistance band in particular, you want to look through the whole thing and kind of stretch it out a little bit to make sure there are no pinholes and no rips or tears that are there, because if there are, what happens when you start to stretch it is that can be a weak point and it could break pretty precipitously, and that is not fun. Number two, proper form is key. If you do anything when you are doing a workout, and this can be hard when you're on a boat because a lot of times it's moving. Even if you're at a dock or you're in a very calm anchorage, the boat is constantly moving. You want to pay close attention to your form, and until you get used to doing each of these exercises, it's going to take you a little bit more time because you're going to be consciously focusing on it. So a couple of things with this, and there are three main exercises I'm talking about today. One is a squat, one is a plank, and one is a lunge. And when you squat down, you want to make sure your knees stay behind your toes and your back is upright. That may mean that you can't go down very far. That's okay. You're working, and you're just be aware of that. When you're doing plank, which is what some people call a push-up position, you line up your shoulders, your elbows, and your wrists in terms of where things are with your upper body. And you're trying for a straight line from your neck to your butt to your ankles. Like pretend there's a ruler or something there. It's easy to drop your neck and to think that that's helping you, but try to be really conscious of that. And then when you're doing a lunge, which is basically as if you're taking a super long step forward, you are looking for your knee behind your toes. So if you're stepping forward and doing a forward lunge with your right leg forward, you're going to have your right knee behind your toe, which may mean that you're going to find yourself scooting your heel forward to keep it that way. Ideally, you're going for a separate enough stance that you can get to 90 degrees on both knees, but your knees may need some work to get to that point, and they might not ever get to that point. That's totally fine. When you are increasing difficulty, because a lot of times when you start to work out and then you feel really good and you're like, okay, how can I make it harder because this is getting easy? Well, what you're going to do in terms of increasing difficulty, and I don't care if you're talking about going for a walk or climbing the rigging or doing squats or plank or lunges, the first thing you're after is form. You want to make sure that your form is correct every single time. That's your first line of defense, and that's the first thing you need to focus on. So everything building on this is based upon the fact that your form is correct. So your form is first. If you have trouble when you move up, when you try to go deeper into your squat or your lunge or your plank or your push-ups, or you're trying to go faster, if your form isn't good, then back yourself back off until the form is perfect, and then you can ramp it back up again. Proper form is always first. When you can do proper form consistently, then you can go deeper into the exercise. So that means with squat, that means your butt gets further down. If it's a plank or not really plank, but if you're doing a push-up, it means that you can go bring your chest closer to the ground. Or if it's a lunge, you're getting your knees closer to 90 degrees on both knees. That's what's called deeper. So when you form first, then you can go deeper in the exercise. And then when you have proper form and can go deep, then you can speed up. If you're doing a squat and the first time it takes you to do a squat, you're doing it perfect form and you can go as far as you can go with perfect form and it takes you 20 seconds, and maybe a week later you can do 4 squats in that 20 seconds and you're going a little bit deeper, and then maybe you say, okay, I'm going to do my 4 squats and I'm going to go as deeply as I can, and then you can just speed it up. So that's it. You're going for form first and then going deeper into your move, and then you speed it up. So those are the 3 things. I've got an example of a workout in the blog post that I've linked to this. What I look for when I try to help my clients with a workout program is I want them to do a workout program that they can commit to doing at least 4 times a week. And that can be 15 minutes a day, 4 times a week. That's fine. If you want to do more, that's great. Here are 10 exercises. Pick at least 5. You could do all 10 if you wanted to. You can do a squat. You can do a squat with an overhead press, which means that you do a squat and then as you push up, you push your arms straight over your head. You can do legs lifts. This is on your back with your legs going up together as a pair and lifting them up to probably about 45 degrees and then bringing them back down only as far as you can while you keep your lower back on the floor. If you want to have a band involved with that, put the band around your legs and keep your legs apart, holding the band tight as you're doing that. 3 is a plank, just a good old-fashioned plank hold. You can do a lunge, which is 1 foot forward and then come back, and then the other foot forward. You can do punches with a band around your back and ends in each hand. You want to have your legs nice wide stance, and then you're going to twist the torso as you punch the air with the band, which is helping you with resistance. A curtsy lunge is where you have both feet facing forward, and then you bring the one foot behind the other, and your body stays in line with a forward-facing foot. A lat pull down or a pull up. Well, so this would be if you were going to be doing a pull up, like if you had space on your boat to do a pull up. You might not have space to do that, but you might have a way to do a lat pull down, which is using the same muscles, which are in the middle of your back there, your lat muscles. If you don't have space to do that, if you do a bent over row, meaning you're bent over, your legs are your feet are about hip width apart, and you're bent over with your core in tight and your butt kind of sticking out a little bit behind you, you're going to have the bands underneath your feet, and you just pull your arms up and your elbows straight back. You can lie on your back and do bicycles. Lie on your back or on your back in a sitting position, and then your legs are cycling away on an air bike. You can do that plank with a row. Anchor the band under one hand, and then while you're in your plank position, you're going to row, meaning you're pulling your band back toward your shoulder. And yeah, this is balance. This is really hard to do if the boat is moving a lot at all. You can pretend that you're Alice in Wonderland and go squat low, tie the band around your legs, stay low, and move laterally side to side. Keep tension on the band. And that's it. That's a pretty great set of exercises that you can choose from. Anytime you want to increase the difficulty of it, what you can do is combine exercises. So for instance, that squat with an overhead press. Sure, you could have an overhead press that was you're working just with your arms and you go over your head and then down. That's one way to do it. If that's too hard, you can do it one hand at a time. You can also do a squat by itself. You can also combine the two of them, do a squat with an overhead press and do it together, and you will find that will increase the difficulty. Play around with some exercises, find a time and a place on your boat to do that, and know if you keep yourself physically fit and flexible and capable, you will just increase your enjoyment of this amazing lifestyle. I can't wait to see you out there, and I'll trade some exercise ideas with you. Have a great day. Thanks so much for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. We aim to answer all your cruising questions, so ask away. Let's face it, when we're getting ready to go cruising, there are questions that come to us all the time. And thanks also to our sponsor, Infinity Flooring. You can find them at infinitylwv.com. The Boat Galley podcast releases new episodes every Monday and every Thursday. We look forward to hearing from you about how we can help you with your cruising questions. Bye for now.